Hi, this is Jackie Fulmer and Lyneah Marks, and we're here on St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patty's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
And we're going to be talking about discernment. This is our second video about discernment. You may have seen the first one. And the first thing we're going to talk about is kind of how I first came to understanding that I needed discernment, which happened for me many years ago. I had a near-death experience in 1975, and the details of that you'll find in my book, Thirsting for a Raindrop. And after that, I was directed to start doing healing work on people. And I was working on a woman who had come to me. I don't even know how she knew. Excuse me.
Bless you.
I don't know how she knew even to find me, but she found me and said that she wanted me to work on her. And I said, okay. And she gave me an outline of what she wanted to work on, which was quite a bit. And she confided in me that she'd been told that I could completely help her heal. And I thought that was very optimistic, but I like to help people, so I thought I'd try. I did a couple of sessions with her, and then in one session, there was a spiritual presence that came in, 2 o'clock in my imagination. And it was white, but it was pasty. It didn't feel right. And it upset my stomach. And, I'm a Virgo. Virgo's a sign of the gut. And when your gut says, you got to listen. I think all of us need to listen to our gut when it says, But I just didn't feel right about it. And I told her I couldn't work on her anymore. And she was upset with me. And I left that session saying that I couldn't do anymore. And I came home and said, I'm putting this healing gift on the shelf. I can't use it because I don't know who I'm talking to. And my husband at the time said, whatever, do it, don't do it, whatever feels right to you. So I put it on the shelf. And uh, three people, 3 different days in a very small town that had almost nobody who was blue-eyed, three very intensely blue-eyed people came up to me, grabbed my arm, and said, you must do a healing on me. And I was like, what? So I said a prayer saying, I'm kind of sort of willing to do this weird healing work, but I need to know who I'm talking to. I don't know how to tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys in the spirit realm. And I just left it at that. And 3 days later, a woman who was a friend of mine came in with her Bible open to 1 John 4, 1 through 4. And she said, read this. And it said, do not trust all the spirits, my children. You must test the spirits. And the way to test the spirits is to ask if they believe that the Christ came in the flesh. Another translation says that the Christ incarnated. Same, same idea. Um, and I looked at her and I said, how did you know to bring this to me? And she said, oh, the Lord put it on my heart this morning. And I thought, I wonder how it is to be that faithful. And in the years following, I have found out, but it was a question of my heart. So I called the woman up and I said, I'll do one more healing session with you. I'm not promising beyond that, but I'll do one more. And she said, I'll take whatever you'll give me. So we did the session, and the same spirit, 2 o'clock in my imagination, came in, all white, but it was pasty and made my stomach upset. And I said, do you believe that the Christ came in the flesh? It disappeared. It was gone. And the upset in my stomach was gone. And I said, I guess not. So I started saying that before every time I did a session. I'll listen only to those who believe that Christ came in the flesh. And I know that that was given to me because of my background as a Christian. There are other words that can be used by other people in other faiths. It does not have to be exactly those words. But we all need to use some form of discernment to know who we're talking with. And we need to use it every time. every time we meditate, every time we do healing work, every time we're asking questions, we want to be sure that we're only getting answers from the highest sources that have our highest good at heart. And years later, I was working with two different people, and it led me to saying only those who have our highest good at heart from divine sources' point of view. So I've added that into my statement of discernment, and that has worked for me for many, many years. So I use that every morning. I create something I call an opening macro, and I do classes on that. And every morning I do my opening macro. I do my opening macro before every session that I do with anyone. I do it before classes. I do it before meditations. I've been sent to do it before other people's presentations. And um, there have been a couple of times where the presenter was not able to channel the being that they were used to channeling because it did not have our highest good at heart from divine source's point of view. So this has become extremely important to me in my practice, and I teach it in all the classes I teach pretty much, especially Body, Soul, and Angels Healing. And what are your experiences with discernment?
So I have had a couple situations that I did not use discernment. And because I was new into learning the spiritual part of who I am and did not use discernment that I now know, um, the spirits that were trying to interact with me, well, it had a very negative effect on me. And once I learned discernment, um, it was like putting up a shield so that these spirits could not come through to me and have the effect physically on me as it had in the past. And the situation was I had a spirit that was showing itself to be an ancestor. And I did not put up my opening and I did not use discernment. And it just didn't feel right, but I didn't question it anymore. And that's when I got in touch with Lyneah, and she asked me, did I use my discernment? And I had forgotten. And so it took several weeks to get this spirit that had come into me or affected me to then leave my presence. So it was like I sort of got burnt a little bit, and then it helped me to really be aware of myself and to make sure that I'm protecting myself and my home and anyone that I'm working with, because we can't physically always see what is trying to interact with us. And so now it's made me very aware. And if I have any questions about the way I'm feeling, I ask for my opening and I ask for my guides to help me discern and to know who I'm interacting with.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's I had to get burned a little bit before I could, really understand the importance behind it.
Now, me too, in the early days, I tried to do some automatic writing and just awful stuff came through me. I stopped that immediately because I hadn't used any kind of discernment or statement of who I'd allow to channel through me. And in the spirit realm, there's all kinds of different beings, and not all of them are positive. There are those who are self-centered, who are looking to use people, who have ideas that are not of the highest realm. And we need to be aware and to send love. Love is your very best protection. You want to definitely work in a field of love from your heart And you need to be sure who you're listening to. It needs to be clear.
Definitely. I 100% agree. It's it got a little scary at one point because it got to be very dark. And that is something that I do not want to visit again ever. Because I'm here to help human beings and the beings on the other side so that, I'm here for the highest good only. And once I set my foundation in knowing that I only work in love and light, and I only work with those who believe that Christ came in the flesh and that has my highest good at heart, it shifted everything for me in a very positive way for myself. And I've been woken up at 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and once I started asking for my opening so that I use my discernment, sometimes I go right back to sleep. And other times I don't go back to sleep. And that's when I know that that's somebody trying to get through to me who needs my help, who does have my highest good at heart, and that I need to help on the other side.
And sometimes on this side,
Yes.
it can be
Yes.
somebody that's on this side that you know that needs your help and your
Correct.
energy at that time. And sometimes it's somebody who you don't even know. I mean, sometimes at 3
True.
a.m., I get an image of somebody in an airplane terrified, and it's not somebody I know, but it's
Oh,
somebody who's just really afraid of flying, and I'm being asked to send healing energy to that person. But
definitely.
yes, especially in the middle of the night, you want to put up your opening, which is your statement of discernment, so that you know who you're working with.
Definitely.
And whether it's some kind of spirit that's disturbing your sleep for something other than the highest good, or if it's someone who is of the highest good and looking for you to help.
Yes. And also when I have not put up my opening for discernment, it drains my energy. And it takes me time to get my energy back because when I don't open my and do my opening for my discernment, um, it takes me a minute to get back into, okay, why don't I feel good? Why do I have these negative thoughts? This is not who I am. And so I sit down with myself and I ask for my opening and I ask my guides to help me to, you know, ground me to where I need to be so that I can figure out, okay, this is not me. You have to leave. And that's really important. And like I said, I've had to learn it the hard way.
Yes, indeed. But you did have someone to help you
And I'm so
figure it.
grateful for you.
I had to figure it out on my own. I didn't have anybody with me. On my own in the physical world, not in the spirit
Yeah.
world. I had
Yes.
plenty of help in the spirit realm, but it was also quite a few years ago, so there weren't as many people around who were metaphysically aware and or open as there are now.
I'm
So
so grateful for you. So thank you.
So if you come to workshops or webinars that I have running, I've got one coming up soon that is on self-care for helpers, people who care. And that's on my website, bodysoulandangels.com. That is a 2-week course, 1 night each week, that talks about techniques that you can use to protect your own energy field. And then there are classes for Body, Soul, and Angels healing technique. This self-care is one that leads up to it. There's also classes on discernment and creating macros, opening and closing macros, which are incredibly helpful for people who are working regularly with clients or patients, or anyone really. I mean, if you're caretaking somebody in your family, these techniques are very time saving and extremely helpful. Anything you want to add, Jackie?
At this time, I think I've said what I needed to. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much for talking with me. And we'll probably do some more videos soon about body, soul, and angels healing, a little more in depth on what that is. It's the image behind me here is the body, soul, and angels energy before it comes into manifestation. And it is a beautiful, colorful, curvaceous, divine feminine energy that's been out of the world for many, many years, has recently come back in. And I was given this energy um, quite a few years ago and didn't really know what I was working with in the beginning, but slowly became more and more aware that this was a divine feminine energy that had returned to the earth. And we do an attunement and an initiation to bring you into having the channels to be able to bring in this energy and use it on yourself, your animals, your plants, um, patients, clients. It's used in many, many ways. So I hope you'll look on the website, bodysoulandangels.com, and check out the offerings that we have going on right now. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.
Bye.